Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this: you're sitting there, phone in hand, heart racing, debating if you should send that one last message, the one that might get a response, the one that might bring back what's lost. But what if, instead of reaching out, you stopped? What if, in the quiet space of not calling, not texting, not chasing, you discovered something far more powerful than his reply? What happens when you stop calling him? Let me tell you, it's not about silence, it's about strength. It's not about giving up, it's about rising up. This moment, this decision could be the start of something you never saw coming, the rebirth of you. Because here's the truth: every time you dial that number, every time you send that message, you're handing over a piece of your power. And what if, just this once, you kept it? What if you held on to it and saw what happens when you redirect that energy back to where it belongs? Stay with me, because today we're not chasing anyone. We're stepping into the life you deserve. And it all starts with not pressing call. Silence. It's often feared, misunderstood, and sometimes avoided at all costs. Yet it holds a profound power that few take the time to embrace. In the aftermath of a breakup, silence is not just the absence of sound or words, it becomes a space where transformation begins. The power of silence lies not in what you lose by stepping away, but in what you gain by stepping inward. When you stop calling, texting, or chasing, you create a void. At first, that void might feel like emptiness, like something is missing. And that's natural, because for so long your energy, thoughts, and emotions were tied to another person. But here's the thing about voids: they are not just empty spaces, they are opportunities. They are the blank canvas where you can begin to paint the picture of who you truly are. Silence allows you to hear yourself again. When the noise of constant communication fades, the voice of your inner self starts to rise. You may discover things about yourself that were buried beneath the layers of that relationship: your passions, your dreams, your desires. In the stillness, you reconnect with the person you were before the relationship, and with the person you are meant to become. Moreover, silence speaks volumes. It conveys a message not to the person you've stopped calling, but to yourself. It says, I value my peace. I respect my time. I prioritize my growth. It's a statement of self-worth and self-respect, a declaration that you are no longer willing to pour energy into something that no longer serves you. But the power of silence doesn't stop at rediscovery, it extends to transformation. Silence forces you to sit with discomfort, to face the pain of loss and the reality of change. And while this might feel unbearable at first, it's in this discomfort that growth occurs. Like a seed buried in the soil, you begin to grow in the darkness, unseen but undeniably transforming. For the other person, your silence can be equally powerful. It breaks the cycle of dependence, forcing them to confront their own emotions without your constant presence. It creates space for both of you to heal, to grow, and to redefine your paths. In time, the silence that once felt like a void becomes a sanctuary. It's no longer about what you've lost, but about what you've gained: clarity, strength, and the understanding that you are whole, with or without someone else. So the next time you hesitate to embrace silence, remember this: silence is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the fertile ground where you rediscover your power, reclaim your identity, and step into the life you are meant to live. Silence isn't empty, it's full of possibility, and it's yours to embrace. Reaching out can feel like second nature in the aftermath of a breakup. You pick up the phone, your mind flooded with reasons to call closure, clarity, or just the comfort of familiarity. But what happens when you stop reaching out? What happens when, instead of seeking answers from someone else, you turn inward and begin to find them within yourself? Breaking free from the cycle of constant communication is not an act of giving up, it's an act of reclaiming your power. Every time you reach out, you tether yourself to the past, to the version of the relationship that no longer exists. But when you stop reaching out, you create a boundary, a line that separates what was from what could be. At first, not reaching out might feel like a form of deprivation. The urge to call or text can be overwhelming, fueled by memories, loneliness, or even the hope that things might go back to how they were. But this is where the magic of restraint comes in. By not giving in to the impulse, you begin to detach emotionally. You start to see the situation not through the lens of longing, but through the clarity of distance. When you stop reaching out, you give yourself the gift of perspective. You begin to understand that healing doesn't come from another person's words or actions, it comes from within. You start to focus on your own needs, dreams, and well-being, things that may have been overshadowed during the relationship. The act of breaking free is also a declaration of self-worth. It's saying, I don't need external validation to feel whole. I don't need someone else to define my value. This shift in mindset is transformative. You move from a place of dependence to a place of independence, from seeking approval to owning your journey. For the other person, your decision to stop reaching out can also create a ripple effect. It forces them to reflect, to feel the absence of your presence. Sometimes stepping back allows others to see what they've taken for granted. But this is not about them, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your narrative and writing a new chapter, one that doesn't rely on anyone else for its meaning. Breaking free is not just about cutting ties, it's about rediscovering your freedom. It's about realizing that you are not defined by a relationship or its ending. You are so much more an individual with your own story, your own strengths, and your own future. In time, what felt like an unbearable silence becomes a source of strength. You find joy in your own company, power in your independence, and peace in the realization that you have everything you need within yourself. So when the urge to reach out arises, remember this freedom begins when you let go. Breaking free is not just a step forward, it's a leap into the life you truly deserve. The chase, it's a pattern so many fall into after a breakup. Calling, texting, hoping, and waiting for a response that might rekindle what's lost. But what if you let go of the chase entirely? What if, instead of running after someone who's no longer in your life, you redirected that energy into pursuing your own growth, happiness, and purpose? Letting go of the chase isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of what no longer serves you. It's about understanding that your worth is not tied to someone else's attention or validation. When you stop calling, you break the cycle of dependency, and in doing so, you reclaim your freedom. At first, letting go of the chase can feel like losing control. You've invested so much time, emotions, love, and the idea of stepping back might feel like abandoning the possibility of reconciliation. But here's the truth: real freedom comes not from holding tighter, but from releasing. When you stop chasing, you give yourself the space to breathe, to heal, and to rediscover who you are outside of the relationship. One of the most powerful realizations that comes from not calling is that you don't need to chase anyone to prove your worth. You are enough just as you are, without pleading, without convincing, without constantly being the one to reach out. This understanding doesn't come all at once. It grows slowly, like a seed planted in the fertile ground of silence and self-reflection. Letting go of the chase also creates an unexpected transformation. It shifts the energy in the relationship dynamic. When you stop calling, the other person is left to confront the silence. They may begin to realize the space you once filled in their life. But this is not about their response, it's about your empowerment. It's about moving forward with dignity, knowing you have the strength to let go of what's not meant for you. As you let go of the chase, you begin to experience a new kind of freedom. You're no longer tied to the outcome of a conversation or the hope of a reply. Instead, you're free to focus on yourself, your passions, your goals, your happiness. You rediscover the joy of living for you, not for someone else. The freedom in not calling isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. It's a declaration that you are ready to step into the unknown, to trust the process of life, and to believe that what's meant for you will find you without force, without struggle. Letting go of the chase is not easy, but it's one of the most liberating decisions you can make. It's a step toward reclaiming your power, your peace, and your self-worth. Because in the end, the only person you should ever chase is the best version of yourself. After a breakup, solitude can feel like a heavy weight, an unwelcome companion in the midst of your emotional storm. It's easy to mistake the quiet of being alone for loneliness, and even easier to seek distractions to fill that void. But what if solitude wasn't something to fear? What if, instead of avoiding it, you embraced it? In the stillness of solitude lies a profound awakening, one that has the power to transform your pain into strength. When a relationship ends, it often feels like a part of you has gone missing. You've spent so much time intertwining your life with another's that being alone can feel foreign, even unbearable. But this is where solitude reveals its hidden gift, the chance to rediscover yourself. Without the constant pull of another person's needs, emotions, or expectations, you have the opportunity to focus solely on you for the first time in a long time. Solitude is not a punishment, it's a sanctuary. It's a space where you can heal at your own pace, without the noise of outside influences. It's where you can reflect on the lessons the relationship taught you, not to dwell on regrets, but to grow from them. In solitude, you find clarity about what you want, what you deserve, and who you are when no one else is around to define you. One of the greatest strengths found in solitude is learning to be your own source of comfort. In the past, you may have relied on a partner for reassurance, validation, or love. But in solitude, you realize that these things don't have to come from someone else. You can provide them for yourself. You learn to nurture your own heart, to celebrate your own accomplishments, and to stand tall, even when no one else is there to hold you up. Solitude also teaches resilience. When you sit with your emotions instead of running from them, you develop the ability to face life's challenges head-on. You discover that pain, while uncomfortable, is temporary. And in working through it, you emerge stronger and more self-assured. The awakening that comes with solitude is not just about surviving a breakup, it's about thriving in its aftermath. It's about realizing that you are whole, even without a relationship. It's about understanding that your happiness is not contingent on someone else's presence, but on your own ability to create a fulfilling life. In the end, solitude becomes a source of empowerment. It's a reminder that you are enough, that you have everything within you to build the life you want. And when the time comes for love to enter your life again, it will come not as a necessity, but as a choice, born from the strength you found in your solitude. So, if you find yourself alone after a breakup, don't fear the quiet. Embrace it. In solitude, you'll discover the person you were always meant to be. And that is the beginning of something truly extraordinary. In the aftermath of heartbreak, the instinct to explain, argue, or seek closure often feels irresistible. You want to be heard, to make your side known, to fill the silence with words that might mend what feels broken. But what if, instead of speaking, you embrace the power of silence? What if, rather than reacting, you let the quiet do the talking? Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. Silence, when used with intention, becomes a powerful tool for healing and transformation. It is a way of reclaiming control over your emotions and your narrative. In the silence, you are no longer pleading or convincing. You are standing in your truth without the need for validation from anyone else. When you choose silence, you make a statement, I value my peace, more than the noise of unresolved conversations. This choice is not easy. It takes immense strength to resist the urge to respond to texts, to pick up the phone, or to engage in the cycle of back and forths that often lead nowhere. But with each moment of silence, you regain a piece of yourself. You redirect the energy you once gave away and reinvest it into your own growth. Silence also creates space for reflection, not just for you, but for the other person. When you stop responding, you interrupt the pattern. The other person is left to confront their own emotions without relying on your reactions to guide them. But remember, this is not about manipulating their feelings or behavior. It's about focusing on your own healing. Turning pain into power starts with accepting the reality of the situation. Silence is not about avoidance, it's about acknowledgement. It's about sitting with your emotions, however uncomfortable, and letting them teach you. Pain has a way of showing us where we need to grow, where we've been neglecting ourselves, and what we need to let go of. In the silence, you find clarity. You realize that your worth is not dependent on someone else's attention or affection. You understand that healing is not something they can give you, it's something you must find within yourself. And as you embrace this truth, your pain begins to transform. It becomes a source of strength, a foundation on which you can build a life that is fuller and more authentic than ever before. Silence is not the absence of action, it is action in its purest form. It is choosing to protect your peace, to prioritize your healing, and to reclaim your power. It's a reminder that you don't need to shout to make an impact sometimes. The loudest message is the one you don't send. So, the next time you feel the pull to break the silence, pause, take a breath. And remember, your silence is not empty, it's full of potential. It's the bridge between the pain of the past and the promise of the future. And when you stand in that silence, you are more powerful than you know. In a world that constantly urges us to act, fix, or fight for what we want, the idea of simply letting things be can feel counterintuitive, especially after a breakup. Letting go is often seen as giving up, as a sign of weakness. But what if it's not? What if letting things be is one of the most beautiful and powerful decisions you can make? Letting things be doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're ignoring your feelings or pretending that the breakup didn't hurt. Instead, it means embracing the reality of the situation without resistance. It's about acknowledging the pain, the loss, and the unanswered questions, and choosing to stop fighting against what is out of your control. When you let things be, you open the door to acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of everything that happened. It means you recognize that you can't change the past or force the future. This shift in mindset is freeing. It allows you to stop expending energy on what could have been and start focusing on what is. In the act of letting go, you find clarity. You begin to see the relationship for what it truly was, not through the lens of nostalgia or hope, but through the reality of its lessons. Sometimes we hold on to people and situations not because they're good for us, but because they're familiar. Letting things be allows you to step back and ask yourself, was I truly happy? Was this relationship helping me grow, or was it holding me back? There's a profound beauty in surrendering to life's flow. When you let go of trying to control every outcome, you create space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new beginnings. Imagine holding onto a closed fist. You can't receive anything new when you're clinging so tightly to what's no longer meant for you. But when you let go, when you open your hand, you make room for something greater. Letting things be is also an act of self-respect. It's saying to yourself, I deserve peace. I deserve to move forward without carrying the weight of what's behind me. It's recognizing that your worth is not tied to someone else's presence in your life. You are whole, complete, and capable of thriving on your own. This decision doesn't mean there won't be moments of sadness or longing. Healing isn't linear, and it's okay to feel the full spectrum of emotions as you navigate the journey. But as you let things be, you'll notice that the pain begins to soften. The more you release, the lighter you become. Life has a way of surprising us when we stop forcing outcomes. The things meant for you, the people, the opportunities, the love will find their way to you, often when you least expect it. And the things that aren't meant for you will drift away, making room for what truly aligns with your purpose and joy. Letting things be is not about giving up, it's about trusting. Trusting yourself, trusting the process, and trusting that life has a plan far greater than you can see in the moment. So, as you stand at the crossroads of heartbreak and healing, choose the path of least resistance. Choose to let things be. In doing so, you'll discover a quiet, unseen beauty, a beauty that comes not from holding on, but from releasing. And in that release, you'll find your strength, your peace, and your freedom. Heartbreak is a universal experience, one that can leave us feeling shattered and alone. In the aftermath of a breakup, it's easy to focus solely on the pain and loss. But what if we viewed this period not just as an end, but as a profound opportunity for healing and personal growth? The journey from heartbreak to healing is not merely about moving on, it's about moving inward and rediscovering the strength and resilience that reside within us. When a relationship ends, we often feel as if we've lost a part of ourselves. Our routines, our dreams, and our identities may have been intertwined with another person. This sudden shift can create a void, a sense of disorientation as we grapple with the reality of being alone. However, this void is not just emptiness, it is fertile ground for transformation. In the silence that follows, we have the chance to turn inward, to reflect on our values, desires, and goals. Healing begins with acceptance. It's crucial to acknowledge the pain and grief that come with a breakup, allowing ourselves to feel these emotions fully without judgment. Too often we try to suppress our feelings, thinking we should just move on. But healing cannot occur in denial. By facing our emotions head-on, we create a pathway to understanding and acceptance. As we embrace our feelings, we also begin to understand that heartbreak is a catalyst for growth. Each painful experience carries valuable lessons that can guide us on our journey. Reflecting on what went wrong in the relationship can reveal insights about ourselves, our needs, our boundaries, and our patterns. These realizations empower us to make healthier choices in future relationships and foster a deeper understanding of who we are. The journey of healing also involves rediscovering joy in solitude. Many people fear being alone, equating it with loneliness. However, solitude can be a sanctuary, a space where we learn to nurture ourselves. Engaging in activities that bring us joy, whether it's pursuing hobbies, spending time with friends, or exploring new interests, helps us reclaim our individuality. As we reconnect with our passions, we begin to rebuild our identity, separate from the relationship. Another important aspect of healing is cultivating self-compassion. During heartbreak, it's common to engage in self-criticism, blaming ourselves for what went wrong. But self-compassion is a powerful antidote to pain. It allows us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a friend. By embracing our imperfections and recognizing that everyone experiences heartbreak, we can soften our inner dialogue and foster a healthier self-image. As we navigate through heartbreak, we also learn the importance of patience. Healing is not a linear process, it takes time, and everyone's journey is unique. Some days will feel heavier than others, and that's okay. Allowing ourselves to feel without rushing to get over it creates space for genuine healing. Ultimately, the journey from heartbreak to healing is about transformation. It's about recognizing that while the end of a relationship may feel like a loss, it also opens the door to new beginnings. By embracing the journey within, we cultivate resilience, discover our strength, and emerge from heartbreak more whole than before. So as you navigate this difficult path, remember that healing is not just about moving on, it's about moving forward with grace and purpose. Embrace the journey, honor your feelings, and trust that from heartbreak can arise the most profound and beautiful transformation.